Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Shine with Andrea. My name is Andrea Harrison. I am the Chief Shine Officer and Show Up Strategist. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I am so excited about today. I'm not only excited about some stuff that I want to share with you, but I'm really excited that God saw fit to wake me up another morning. He saw fit to breathe the breath of life into my lungs. And here I am on assignment to love on you guys today. Good morning, Miss Stephanie. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Latera. Good morning, Miss Vita. Yes, I am singing. Guess what, Stephanie? The books are on the way. They are on the way. So yes, it says it should be here on Wednesday, but Amazon, they like to go above and beyond. That's been my experience. And I'm hoping the books will show up before Wednesday, like today, tomorrow. I'm just excited. Jan says she is showing up from the office this morning. Woohoo! Listen, I need everybody that is on here to tag somebody that you know that they are a hidden expert. They are a hidden thought leader. They have so much inside of them and they just stay hidden in the shadows and they need to come out of the shadows. Today is a day that you don't want them to miss. Go ahead and tag them right now. Tag them and say, you need to show up and shine. Go ahead and tag them right now. You don't trust me. Listen, have I ever steered you wrong? Don't sleep on today's show, okay? Hey, Mike, how you doing? Hey, Miss Sharnette. Hello, good morning, Miss Rochelle. Hey, Miss Angela. Listen, y'all get to tagging. I'm telling you, it is going to be so good. After the weekend that we had, and if you've been watching, we've been posting pictures. There is a specific hashtag from this weekend, Show Up and Shine Experience. Show Up and Shine Experience. And if you haven't tapped into that and took a look at everything that everybody has been posting, let me tell you something. You've already missed out. Okay? Hey, Farrah from the other comment section, my beloved Farrah. Hey. Good morning. Hey, Miss Tara. Excuse me. Hi, Tara. If I don't do that, I'm going to get a mean voice message. You didn't sing my song. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope that today is really going to bless you. Go ahead and tag somebody because I'm telling you, today I have a surprise. Look, she's already starting. Before I even said anything, she said my name best be super singy songy because baby, everybody else's name was extra super singy songy. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Good morning, Miss Roxanne. Listen, go ahead, tag your friends and let them know. First of all, do you guys know where we were? Do you know the location? Okay, so we went to our favorite spot, okay? Went to our favorite spot, and our favorite spot is the Jerk Hut. Look at that food. I'm sorry to do this to you. Listen, it's almost lunchtime. If you are anywhere near Tampa, near Fowler, near USF, if you are anywhere near that location, make sure you drop in. Listen, they're open all day, every day. Make sure you drop in and get some of this good food. If you are in the Tampa area, if you're not, it's worth the trip. Trust me, it's worth the trip. I know that was part of the big reason that Dr. Lynn came. She wants me to think that it was for the event. She just wanted that Jerk Hut again, okay? So make sure that you go to the Jerk Hut and taste this amazing food. Look at that. You have the festival, you have the rice and peas, you have the jerk chicken, the jerk pork, there's fish, you can get oxtails, and we had the buffet. We did. We had the buffet. Listen, Miss Vita, if you don't believe me, ask Lena. Lena!
Hey everyone! Hello. I'm so excited to be back.
We are excited to have you back, Lena.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm so proud of you as always.
Thank you. Are you full from this weekend?
Oh my gosh, this weekend was absolutely incredible. Incredible.
But what do you think about the food?
Okay, so we're talking about the food. It was delicious. It was absolutely good. So I told Andrea, my husband is Jamaican and he's a pretty good cook. But this food was like top notch. It was absolutely delicious.
Mm-hmm. So good. And flavorful. Absolutely flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love it. And my husband, y'all know Gordon is Jamaican. And Gordon is an excellent cook. And he loves jerk hut. So that says a lot. Jan said that pork is OMG. Jamila said the food is good there. Oh, yes, buffet. That's what I love the most about it, is that you can go there and, they don't give you just this little skimpy piece of meat and a little skimpy piece of rice and one rice grain and 2 peas. No, they just you can fill up your plate and eat it, and it's so good. Okay. So, I get excited when I talk about jerk hut. I'm so happy that you're here with us, Lena.
I'm excited to be here. I am so excited to be here, and I can't wait to talk about this weekend and all the good things.
I know. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 60 seconds to tell us about you,
okay,
and what you do, and where we can find you. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that in 60 seconds. So, hey everyone, always a pleasure to be here. I am Lena Wilson. I am a transition coach, and simply means that I help midlife professionals navigate both career and personal life changes with more clarity and confidence. I worked in corporate human resources for 25 years, decided to retire last year in pursuit of purpose. So I am literally walking a journey of faith. When you've been used to a corporate salary for 25 years, kind of walking into full-time entrepreneurship can be fully a scary journey, but we know that our jobs are just a resource and God is our source. And so I trust him with all my heart. You can actually find me on lenawilson.com. That's my website, and everywhere on social media for the most part at Coach Lena Wilson. I think I did that in less than 60 seconds.
You did. Let me go ahead and lenawilson.com.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and put that up. So if anybody wants to screenshot it, they can do that. lenawilson.com. Let's go ahead and smile. Y'all take your screenshots. Okay, good. Because, people start posting stuff and you're like, okay. So let me just say this. The first thing is that this started it all. So this is when I say started it all, I mean this weekend. This was the focus of this weekend, to gather everyone for the Show Up and Shine experience. I wrote this book, and it has been something I've been working on for the past 5 years, but it really started to come to fruition over the last year as I've been working with Farah, and she's brilliant. And then God brought Latera into my life, and he gives you everything that you need when you need it. And I could not have birthed this book without them. And here we are. The book has been published. It's on Amazon. And last November 2023, I was at an event for our mutual sister, Cheryl Pullings. and she did an event in Clearwater. And while I was at that event, and I've told you guys the story before, but I've got to tell it again because it has come full circle. So I was at an event, and Lena, we've known each other. We know each other through Cheryl. We've known each other for about 7 or 8 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena got up at the same time when I got up at the event to get some water. And that trip to the counter to get some water, it literally was life-changing. And Lena, do you remember, not the exact words, but what you said that you could share with us now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember the moment very precisely. So I came in I wasn't late, but I was rushing right to the event. And right when I walked in, I noticed Andrea was in the back. And immediately when I walked in, this is the beginning of the event, I'm like, why is she sitting all the way in the back? That's what I thought to myself. So when we had our break, I came to say hello. And immediately when I saw her, God prompted me to share something with her. And in essence, I asked her, I said to her, I said, you are visible, right? Because she would go live and she would do her paparazzi jewelry. So she's visible. But I said to her, she was still hiding. And I asked her, I said, there's something that's preventing you from being more visible. And I said, there is a layer of shame somewhere. And she immediately knew exactly what I was talking about. And so that was the beginning of her, I think, really beginning to think about, okay, what's next? Because there was some truth in what I had shared.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that so eloquently. I remember that day like it was yesterday. And November 23rd was the day. November of 2023 was when that happened. And earlier in that year, in June of 2023, I was approached by someone that I know through business, but never had a conversation with. And I met her in Atlanta at an event, and she poured into me similarly to the way that you poured into me. And actually that story is in the book. And when she poured into me, something changed for me. And within 5 days of her saying what she said to me, one of them was, God sees you. He hasn't forgotten about you. And she said, your heart was made to pour out onto the people. And then fast forward to November, when you said what you said, I was already, let me say this, let me go back a little bit. 5 days after she said what she said is when I started to go live. I started to go live every single day, every single weekday at 10 a.m. and do this. This is when Shine with Andrea really, started streaming. I was afraid to do it before. It was something I didn't want to do, something that God was, on me to do. And I kept saying, no, no, no. And so 5 days after she poured into me, I started saying that. And then when you hit me with what you hit me with, I realized, and this goes for everybody that's here, I realized that we can be walking in our purpose. We can be doing what God has called us to do, but not doing it to our fullest potential, and we can still be hiding. So here I am now, almost 2 years later, and I've been live every weekday since that day in June of 2023. And there are still aspects of me that I'm still hiding. And you pointed that out so profoundly. And then just prophetically, what has come of What has been birthed? Tell us a little bit about what you experienced this weekend.
Yeah. So if I could be completely honest, when Andrea, shared with me that she was having the event, I was like, I'm so proud of her for writing this book. So in my mind, I somewhat thought, hey, we're going to celebrate her writing a book. Like, she wrote a book, we're going to celebrate it. And that was somewhat of my mindset. I was going to meet some amazing women and all of that. And so, we get there and we have this amazing food that was absolutely delicious. And then she says, okay, we're going to go through this workbook. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is different for a book signing. Like, okay. And all I can say is that the information that you poured, I would say poured into us, was really transformational. And as I shared on my post this morning, not only did it birth like a couple next levels for Andrea and where God is taking her and confirming where God is taking her, but it challenged every single person. I think I could say this on behalf of every woman in that room to really examine where we are with our level of visibility and recognize that to some degree we're all still hiding in some way. We think because we show up here for a few minutes or show up there, we think, oh, we're doing something. But to Andrea's point, like, God has a purpose and an assignment on our life, and it is our responsibility to really explore that in its fullest capacity.
Yes.
And each level requires a different version of us. And it feels very uncomfortable. And what I will say, the most powerful thing, at least for me, that happened is that almost every page that you went through disrupted every single piece of me that was comfortable in certain spaces, right? There was this internal disruption. But I go live here and I do videos here and but you're still not fully visible. And I know that. I know that. And so it was very transformational. And I think what the common theme is, if you're not visible, people can't see you. People don't know what the solutions that you carry, they won't have access to that if you don't show up. The people that are attached to your assignment won't get healed, won't get blessed, won't be able to go to their next level unless you show up. And if I could just say one more thing for this segment,
please.
The consistency. Because I know some of us were like, okay, I heard this transformational word. I was in this room. When you go to these conferences, you feel like, man, I can conquer the world tomorrow, right? And so we show up, but then we don't show up consistently, right? The consistency piece, I think, is a big part of our struggle, because number one, life happens and we have to push through when life happens. And I commended Andrea on Saturday, and I'll do it again publicly, to go live from June of 2023 to now every weekday at 10 a.m. takes a lot of consistency, but it takes a lot of discipline and commitment to what God was asking her to do or is asking her to do. And how many times do we find excuses to not stay committed to the thing that God has called us to do?
And Lena, it's not easy either. It's not easy. There are days, and the Shine Crew, they've seen it. There are days. There was one particular day that I got on here, and I was on here for, I think it was like 4 minutes and like 52 seconds or something like that. Like, I came on because I knew I had to show up. I said what God, I did what God wanted me to do, but I did not want to be here. I was in no position internally to be here. I was emotional. I might have cried, or I was holding it in. I did not want to do it, but I had to be obedient and show up. And I thought that was like the worst show ever. I was disappointed in myself for not being able to push past the emotions and still show up and shine and be happy. But I didn't feel like being happy. I wasn't feeling happy at that moment. Joy is something different. right? Our joy is non-negotiable because our joy comes from the Lord. But I didn't feel like being there. But because I committed to God and I know that I'm doing this assignment is for the people who are attached to me, I knew I had to show up. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that when we think that that's our worst and that nobody's going to get anything from that. Do you know I got more messages, more emails, more people reaching out to me and saying, you showed me what it looks like to still show up even when you don't want to. Mm-hmm. And so, we can't take our journey for granted. And we can't think that everything always has to be perfect, because people are not looking for perfection. They're looking for hope, and they're looking for realness. They're looking for transparency. They're looking for vulnerability, because people got big problems.
That's right.
And we got big solutions, and we got to get out of our own head. And we have to still put one foot in front of the other. And the reason why we can do it is because of God's grace. Because we can't do it on our own.
Yeah. And people, that example you gave, people also like to know that we're human, right? We are human. I think sometimes we feel like we have to show up perfect. And people, in moments when we are fully transparent and vulnerable, people connect to that because they see themselves, right? We're not perfect. And so we all have a bad day, right? And life is always happening in every one of our lives, And so I think, kudos to you for still showing up. I had a group where I used to show up every Sunday, and at the time I was still in corporate, and I made this commitment to show up every Sunday. I used to call it Soul Shining Sunday. And there were some Sundays where I was just like, I don't want to do this today, but I knew what God had called me to do. And here's the thing I want to say real quick too. Sometimes we may not know why we're doing something in the moment that we're being asked to do it. And a lot of times God is preparing us for something that we cannot yet see. And so it is so important, when Jan was doing her live today, shout out to Jan, my new best friend. But when Jan was doing her live today, she was talking about don't despise small beginnings. And a lot of times, right, we do what we do when we feel like, man, no one's here, we're not making impact. But it's not always about the impact in that moment as it is about God teaching you a certain level of discipline and consistency and preparation for bigger, right? Because as he moves you to the next level, you've got to prove yourself faithful in the smaller pieces of what he's asked you to do. And so I say that to say, like, Andrea has definitely proven herself faithful with these lives. And Saturday, we kind of saw the birthing of where she's going next. And it is absolutely phenomenal and amazing to watch what God is doing in your life.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you. But I have to say this. I'm going to stop inviting Lena to events, okay? And if I know she's going to be showing up, I'm not going.
Well, tell us why. That doesn't sound nice.
Oh my gosh. Every time Lena shows up, I got to do something different. I got to do something else. I got to go higher. Like what? Like, leave me alone, Lena.
Well, just like you disrupted our comfort levels. Hey, but it is amazing. It's amazing when women come together, what happens, right? That's like a whole nother, conversation.
With no agenda, with no envy, with no jealousy,
That's
just
right.
showing up.
Yes.
And loving on each other and supporting each other and shining together.
Yes. There's something so powerful about that. And that was the atmosphere in that room, right? We all came together, yes, to celebrate Andrea, but also no one was in there competing with anyone. No one was jealous of anyone. We all showed up in our own individual uniqueness and brilliance, and we were able to just pull on what God wanted us to get from that, And so I can see Tara's comment. That's funny.
You
Well,
didn't just step on her toes, Lena. Her feet, her whole feet, all of her feet are gone.
well, I said this last time I was here. Like I am, it you know, a lot of things happened in my life where I doubted the voice of God when he would show me things, and he speaks to me in my dreams, and I doubted that for a really, really long time. And so now I am able to own that God certainly speaks to me. But one thing I can say is I never, ever want to misrepresent God. And I never speak into someone's life unless I am absolutely 100% sure that this is what God is wanting me to do. And so I think part of even, shining is also walking in a level of excellence and a level of integrity that always represents God really, really well. And that's part of the assignment and calling for all of us.
Amen. 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 Latricia says, wow, I am dealing with this. I know he speaks. Absolutely. And he'll confirm it for you too, through somebody like Lena. But anyway, Lena made me cry this weekend. Lena made me cry. Lena always makes me cry, but not because she's doing anything bad or mean, because there's not a mean bone in Lena's body. But Lena always pulls out the truth, confirms the truth, and she does it so powerfully, but so not just, it's not, I'm not trying to say soft, but it's almost like a soothing, it's almost like she gives you like a powerful punch, but it's like she's doing like this with your face. That makes any sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense.
The power is coming and she's telling you the truth, and it's the truth, and it resonates with you because God has already placed that in your heart. And it's funny because I have been wanting to do Shine Academy for a long time. Before it was Shine Academy, it was it had to do with my former brand that I had started, that Unleash Your Brilliance. And I think it was Unleash Your Brilliance University. I think that's what it was. Or Brilliance University. I can't even remember. And so over the past almost 2 years, it's been something in my mind. And I've never really said anything about it because I didn't want to be pulled on the carpet for it. And Jan has been saying it to me. Shine Academy, Shine Academy, Shine Academy. You need to teach. And I just listen and I laugh, and I never really said anything. But when you hit me with it, and we haven't talked about it, when you hit me with it on Saturday, I was like, wow, okay, God. Okay, God. I can't run from it now. So where did that come from? Why did you say to me that Saturday birthed Shine Academy?
So Jan, I can't remember what we were talking about, but Jan kind of casually mentioned it. Like we were talking about different things, and Jan kind of casually mentioned it. And when she mentioned it, like something in my spirit really ignited when she said it. And so I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I like that, right? Yeah. And so when we went through the workbook, your passion for teaching was undeniable in those moments. You are a teacher. And I mean, I'm thinking, here it is. We come to celebrate her. And the chick has gotten like a whole workbook with scriptures and stuff to make us uncomfortable. Like I can't even count how many ouch moments I had in that room on Saturday, right? And it's evident that is part of your calling, is to teach. And I think it is so incredible and just like God to combine all of what has happened with Shine with Andrea to
Mhm.
kind of now bring it to this moment where you get to combine both of your passions to be able to teach.
Mhm.
And I mean, I realized it after we got through the workbook that there is no doubt that and the retreat is coming too. They're both coming. They're both coming. It's just a matter of walking in partnership with God in terms of the timing and how He wants you to release that. But they're both coming.
Wow. Well, after you said that, and after I was just bawling, and I leaned over to Cheryl and I said, we need to strategize, right? I was like, how do I do this? Where do I start? What happens next? And she just looked at me and she was like, I got you. And so I started, just typing stuff on my phone and things were just coming out. And so I have a structure now. Like I know what I want to do. It's probably going to be like an 8-week virtual class, online class, because I know there's a lot of people, especially a part of the Shine Crew, that would want to be a part of it, but can't because they're not in the area. However, at the end of the 8 weeks, there's going to be a retreat. And it's going to, that's where we're going to graduate from Shine Academy, and share our testimonies. So I'm excited. That's like kind of the framework that I have now. God can flip the script, but I'm excited because I feel like before, and this is why we have to wait for God's timing. This is why we can't rush anything. This is why we have to do what He's called us to do first. And like you said, prove yourself. What was the word you used? Faithful. Prove yourself faithful in the little things that He's asked us to do. And, for us going live every day, that's a big thing. But for God, that's a little thing. That's a little thing because He's like, man, you have no idea. You have no idea what I have in store for you. When I started reading 100 Days of Believing Bigger, this devotional, I purchased this book like 2 years before I started reading it. I purchased it because I don't know if it was Cheryl or somebody else I saw with the book, and I was like, oh, I like that. First of all, I was like, I like the way it looked. That's it for me. Like a book, if a pretty book, I gotta have it. But then when I think it was Cheryl or whoever it was, what read something from it, and I was like, oh, it just drew something out of me. I was like, I really like that. I never really went through it. When I started going live, I didn't want to go live. That's why I was running from it for so long. I didn't want to do it because I was so afraid that I wasn't capable. I was so afraid that I wouldn't have anything to say. I was afraid that I just wasn't enough. I wasn't ready. I wasn't the one. I told God, I'm not the one. I can't do it. And He kept pursuing me and pursuing me and pursuing me. And so the day that I said, I have to do this now, I was like, I had been convicted, and I was at a point where I could not go another day. You remember what we talked about this weekend about, what was the word? That inner conflict. When we talked about inner conflict and the cost, we were talking about the cost of hiding. See, this weekend, my intention with this weekend was that it was going to be the last day that we hide. No more hiding. That it was the last day. This was it. And when I finally said I had to do this and I had to go live, and I went live, it was because there was a rumbling in my spirit. And everybody here has felt that rumbling. Just type the word rumble if you know what I'm talking about. Everybody here has felt that. And I couldn't go anymore. I couldn't do anything else because I knew I had to do what God called me to do. I did not know what it was going to look like. And everybody has heard this already. I told the people the first time I went live, and it wasn't with this setup. It was just live straight on my phone like this. And I told the people, I said, I don't know if I'm coming back tomorrow, so you're just gonna have to find out. You're gonna have to come back and find out. That's how serious I was that I didn't want to do it. From that day to where I am today, to the fact that I started with this book because I didn't know what to say. And I said, I'm just going to read my devotions and I'm just going to share whatever God places on my heart. And I was scared about that part. And so because, being the paralegal that I am, being the paralegal that I am, I think I started on page day 16 is when I started. I didn't even start at the beginning of the book. Right? I didn't even start at the beginning of the book. I started on day 16. And I did a whole study. I was studying the night before. I was studying. I was looking up words, definitions, scriptures. It was like I was preparing for a court case or a Sunday sermon. And I felt God just nudge me and say, I didn't ask you for all that. I asked you to share your heart, which is essentially his heart, if we say yes to him. And so I went live and I started doing it. We've read this book 4 times now. This is the 4th time and the last time. Because, and to be quite honest, I absolutely love the book, but I know that after the second time, I was being obedient and disobedient at the same time. I should not have gone into a 3rd time. I absolutely should not have gone into a 4th time. But again, walking in your purpose, still hiding, still not playing full out, still not playing to your complete potential. I had not yet finished my book. So I was in limbo. Like, well, what am I going to do? So what did I do? I stayed with what was comfortable for me. And so here we are now, and see, these things happen. I forget. And this is what I'm saying. It's okay to forget, because the fact that I'm telling you I'm forgetting, if you feel that you don't want to do something like this or whatever it is, because it's not going to be perfect, this is what I'm saying. People need to see you living your life as a human, not as something that's so unattainable that they can't reach. Yeah. And so I've already forgot where I was going with this. Oh, no more hiding. And so this is what Cheryl said to me yesterday after the event. She said, it's no coincidence that your event happened the day before Resurrection Sunday. She said, yesterday was our final day of hiding. You ushered us out of the tomb, the darkness, and the shadows. For today, we shine. And, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And of course, I started crying all over again. But if you don't show up and shine, there are so many people out there that are waiting on you and what God placed on the inside of you, so that you can pass the baton to them, and we call that the shine effect. But I want to know a little bit more. I want to know a little bit more about what Cheryl meant when she said that. I'd love to hear her experience about yesterday. So I'm just going to call in a friend. Is it okay if I call in a friend, Lena?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're just going to call in a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Icon Activator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lena and I are just hanging out here and we were just talking about you. And we want to know, first of all, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell us who you are. Tell us who you are and tell us where you can find us. How about that?
Okay, so I'm Cheryl Pullins, the Icon Activator, and I help multi-gifted midlife women to build iconic personal brands so that they can shine. I just got to put that in there. And to build signature brands in their second act. That's the part that I'm really excited about, because these women are women that have been in the corporate space. They've been doing something else, and then they either want to pivot or they want to bring in other things. And I teach them how to leverage the power of their personal brand. And you can find me on social media, Cheryl A. Pullins, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and TikTok.
Wait, what? On where? What was that last? But what was the last?
Oh, TikTok.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
TikTok.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Lena?
I did. Andrea got all of us on TikTok.
Listen, Andrea is a I'm not going to say a hard taskmaster. That's not the right term, but she don't play.
Yeah, I told everyone on Saturday. This is for the audience, those watching. One of the things I told Andrea was, never diminish the power of her influence. And I remember, and it was just very casual. But when Andrea speaks, you listen. And she said, "You need to get on TikTok. You need to get on TikTok." And I'm like, I don't like TikTok. TikTok is hard. It's my least favorite platform. And she's like, "You just need to go on TikTok for 30 days. And I mean, it's like, okay, Andrea said it, kind of need to do it, And I think it's so important sometimes to recognize the voices that are in your life that really matter and have powerful influence. Because when I look at her level of visibility, I'm not quite there. So the fact that she's telling me to do something that will get me to a level that I'm not yet at and she's already at, why wouldn't I listen? And a lot of times we get the instruction, but we don't take action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead,
I one time heard somebody. I heard somebody say that we are strategy rich and execution poor.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Wait, I gotta write that down. Strategy rich and execution poor.
Yep.
That speaks volumes. That says a lot, and it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
very
truth.
much so.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Wow. So I want to know what your thoughts were from this weekend, Cheryl. I want to know, what was your experience like at the Show Up and Shine experience?
So, I didn't totally know what to expect. I knew the food was going to be good. And I knew that those in attendance were going to, it was going to be a great connection, because Andrea has built an incredible community, and I was excited and surprised to see Lena there as well. And but in terms of like my personal thing about what I was feeling in the moment, especially this workbook, listen, one thing I love doing is creating curriculum and workbooks, because I believe that the work that I do is transformational. But this right here is not to be played with. And again, sometimes when I go to, events, I'm not always fully present in the I'm going to do this work. Usually, I'm just kind of like listening and processing. But I made an intentional decision. I'm like, well, I'm gonna actually do this because I'm here with the chief shine officer and show up strategist, and I need to up my show up game. And I the work that we did while we were there was so powerful for me. I mean, literally, I have like pages. I don't know if you can see it, but I have that page. I have that page. I mean, just I was literally writing and really pouring my heart into the moment about just where I am personally. So the timing of it was really perfect. And then I did the when we did the scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
and I started putting the scriptures in ChatGPT to personalize them. That made it even more real for me.
I
And
love that you did that, and I love that you shared that with all of us.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
because once I read it for myself, I was like, wow. Now I'm actually literally talking to myself. These are my reminders. I always talk about declarations. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in declarations probably as much as other people believe in affirmations, because I believe you declare a thing
Mm-hmm.
first, then you can affirm it. So when we did Romans 8:19, and I went for the creation waits in eager expectation for Cheryl to be revealed, that became personal. That became personal. And then you leaned over and like, are you going to write these, for yourself? And I told you, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get some index cards, and I'm gonna do it. And I was not playing. I
Oh
was
my
not playing.
gosh, I love it.
I was not playing. I got my I even got some markers and index cards, because that was the impact that the event had on me. The impact was about me executing, about me doing what I say I'm going to do. And I brought up the when Jan mentioned about me saying I was going to do something, and she came looking for me online and I wasn't there. That was, and Lena leaned over and looked and she said, ouch. Ouch was right.
Mhm.
Ouch was right, because I'm thinking all this time, oh, people aren't, they're tired of me, or they're watching other people, or whatever stories we tell ourselves to validate why we're not doing what we know we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And it just gave me an opportunity in such a safe space to take off the mask, to to
Mm.
to look at myself, and to allow people to see me in a state where I'm like, I got to get myself together because this is ridiculous. And talking about it was one of the questions you asked in the workbook, and it said, reflect. This was section 1, understanding the cost of hiding. Reflect on how staying hidden affected your life, your business, and your spiritual walk. Financial frustration, financial limitations, right? And then you said visibility attracts resources. And then it was like visibility is power, Rashonda. Visibility is profitability. It's something I say all the time. So it was me sitting in and really taking some big doses of nasty medicine
Mm.
that's going to make me better.
Mm. Wow.
That was my experience.
Wow. Wow.
Then, Andrea, I shared this with you last night. So I went on ChatGPT, Chatty Cathy's my friend. And I went on And I saw this on Instagram from Courtney. Courtney has the hair care line, Watch and See, Water and See, whatever it's called. I can't remember, but she just released a new hair care line. And she said, I put this prompt in, and this is what it gave me back. So I'm going to share it with everybody. And then I'm going to tell you what I sent in there. So the prompt was, now that you can remember everything I've ever typed here, point out my blind spots. Now that you can remember everything I've ever typed here, point out my blind spots. So I use ChatGPT a lot for strategy and just to hone my message and all that. So the first blind spot it gave me says, the brand is big, but the face could be bigger.
Wow.
That was the very first blind spot. And then it says the blind spot is, you've created a rich ecosystem. Her iconic empire, icon energy, mentorship, challenges, but the personal brand. Now, mind you, this is what I do with people. But the personal brand of Cheryl sometimes gets tucked behind the platforms. And I'm always talking about hiding in plain sight. And that's exactly what that so for me, I always say, the very thing you struggle with, that's the only word I can come up with at the moment. Not my favorite word, but it is what it is. The very thing you struggle with is what you have been destined to help people with. So when it said that, I was like, oh. It also confirmed that I'm on the right path. And then it says the opportunity. It says, you are the face. Don't just be the architect. Be the attraction. Your personal story, image, voice, and presence should be more front and center. I think it was listening on Saturday, for real, to be honest with you, because I'm like, what are you saying? And it said, when people buy into her iconic empire, they're buying into you. So that was just confirmation of the weekend, and that's how the weekend was capped off. So,
wow, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad I wasn't in the room when ChatGPT whipped your behind, because that's embarrassing. You ever been in the room with your cousin or your sister and they get the whooping and you're like, oh, I know that hurt, right?
I didn't even share the other 6 things it said, because that was the first thing, and that being the first thing on the heels of the Show Up and Shine experience blew me away.
Well, Cheryl, I just went ahead and put it in myself. So I just want you to feel like I don't want you to think that you're alone in this, okay?
Oh, I know I'm not alone.
It says you have a God-given voice. Remember what Lena said, a voice of influence, right? But you may still struggle with visibility wounds. Says you're teaching women to be seen. Based on what you've shared, I also sense that you've had to fight hard to believe your own visibility is safe, sacred, and sustainable. Blind spot? There might still be places where you dim, delay, or downplay your own light, especially when you're launching something new or charging your worth. Now, I had a conversation with a friend this weekend about that very thing. we as, I was gonna say we as women, but I think this is women and men. We
Mhm.
struggle to understand our worth. We struggle to charge for our worth. And so I want to add to this conversation this morning, Dr. Lynn.
Hello, hello. My so good to see you. Better in person, but it's still good to see you.
It was really great to see you. I was so, just as my sister friend, you showing up. I know you showed up for you, but you showed up for me. And you flew in all the way from New York City to be present yesterday. Now, I joked yesterday and I said Cheryl and Lena and myself, we all three of us came from just as far. We just didn't take a plane, we drove. But I say that jokingly because we live far away from,
Mhm.
where the event was held. But um, I'm so grateful that you came. But you said something to me yesterday that you said there's no way that you could have missed it.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, so many reasons. One, because we've known each other a while, and so to go back, and but also online really is where we known each other.
Mhm.
The last time that I was in Tampa was the first time. Hey, everybody! Hey, Jamila. That was the first time we met in
Mhm.
person after all of the years that we had known each other, worked together online. Uh, so that was important to me to make sure that I support you in that way, and you knowing that you're going to have it. I'm going to do everything I can to come, but also because I've watched your evolution. I told you, Andrea, when you talked about how you were nervous and you had all this doubt, and I was just like, what? Wow. You talked about this when we were together. If you'll remember, you were saying how we see each other all of these ways that we don't see ourselves. And so for me, when you said that, I'm like, Andrea, what? I mean, she's a natural for this. This is the Shine crew. That's gonna be easy for her. And I told you to go back and watch that first show, your first live for Shine, because I said how you have grown and developed has been incredible, and you're still not even where you know you're going to go, or at least we all know, and you got to catch up and know you're going to go. But I just feel like I'm connected. I think that's it too. I'm connected to the people. I would say mostly women in this group, but Mike is always here. I don't know if he's here today, but Mike always here. So like I'm connected to this group. I feel like I want to be in the house. I want to learn from you. I want to learn from everyone that shows up, and it is certainly worth my time and investment to come and do this. And I don't say that lightly, because there are a lot of things that people get me do. Andrea, is you ask me some things and I'm like, Andrea, I just can't do that. And I'm honest about that. I will say when I just cannot do something. But for me, this would not have fallen under that category.
Wow. 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 What was your biggest takeaway from yesterday?
Uh, Yesterday or Saturday?
Saturday. Saturday.
Yesterday we were at the restaurant.
Yes.
That's my takeaway from that. No. Oh, what's my biggest takeaway? Uh, I think for me, my biggest takeaway is I didn't really read everything that I wrote, but I think the ability for me to be honest, I think to write down
Mm-hmm.
what really is the place that I am looking to get better at, and I didn't share this, is that I have shied completely away from doing speaking engagements. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
did a TEDx talk. I didn't have a problem with it. I've done speaking, but I am just, I think, in awe of so many other people. I was stunned at that revelation for myself on set. Like, why are you terrified to do speaking engagements? So I've just been like, no, I'm not doing that. I train, I facilitate, I stand in front of so many, hundreds of people, training them in conflict resolution. I love it. It's easy, but the speaking thing, I just see myself as like, no, you're really not good at that. So you can't do it. I don't know. It's just
You have a whole talk show, Dr. Lynn.
know that, but my mind is separating it. It truly is separating it as something that's very different, that I'm not going to be able to hold and capture an audience that way. Like I don't know. It is really something to come face to face with that. But that is certainly what came up for me on Saturday, is that I have a big speaking engagement in October, and Dr. Lauren I brought on as my speaking coach. So, but I'm still like terrified and blocked in many ways. So that was the big revelation for me, that I was really willing to put it on paper and say, whatever is happening with this, you got to get to, honey, because it's just not true, right? Thank you, Jan. I don't know where that came from.
Wow. Well, Lena, I'm going to ask you to speak to that. Maybe God will give Lena something really special, something really juicy for you this morning, Dr. Lynn. But I would love for you to speak to that, as far as, the lies we tell ourselves, right? We, like what Jan said, your book is called Broken Hearts Still Shine. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's something inside of us, of all of us, where some place along the line, somebody broke something in us, said something to us that, whether they intended to say it, whether they didn't know what they were saying, but said something to us that we are still carrying that lie. Mm-hmm. We're still carrying. Somebody talked to us a certain way. I know for a fact that is a huge thing. And what I'm realizing is that as God elevates us and takes us to the next level, he starts to reveal these things. And I'm telling you, I haven't had my feelings hurt so much as I have over just the past couple of weeks, just in conversations. And I realized that just because somebody said something about me in the past, told me I'm never going to amount to anything, that was something I heard as a child. You're never going to amount to anything. You're too fat. You're too loud. Can't you just sit down somewhere? We don't realize the things that we say. And I've heard it in my adult life as well. I worked at a job where they were getting ready to hire someone in our department. And it was made known to me that this person is going to be really great for our department because she's athletic and she's very pretty. So what does that make me feel like? The only other person in that department besides the person that hired them, right? So broken hearts still shine. Talk to us about that, Lena.
Yeah, sure. So I will share, and some of you have heard this before. I mean, when I wrote that book, there were a lot of pieces within me that I needed to heal. I had a lot of wounds, and a lot of them were attached to my story around rejection. So a lot of you know I was adopted at the age of 2. To this day, I still don't know my biological parents, and my adopted parents have both passed away from cancer. So I had another layer of just heartbreak that I had to deal even after my adopted parents both passed away from cancer. And so the book is really about my journey through rejection, because rejection is one of those areas that really hold many people back. Like it is one of those very big factors that if we really believe the lie about that, it prevents us from really showing up. And that was really kind of my story, right? I shared this with somebody on Saturday. Like I walked into rooms and relationships expecting to be rejected. And so I already, kind of that, self-fulfilling prophecy. And so when you have I'm going to say a soul wound, it doesn't have to be rejection, right? It could be people pleasing because you don't think you're good enough, or you're always comparing yourself because someone said when you were 3 years old that you're not good enough, or whatever the case might be, or you made a mistake in life and you're holding on to kind of what that mistake, cost you. You start to believe all these lies, and unfortunately, sometimes we allow those lies to become our realities. And if you don't ground yourself in the Word of God and remind yourself of your true identity in Christ, then those lies start to become your identity. And the book Broken Hearts Still Shine walks you through kind of my struggles with rejection. But the reason I titled it that was because even though you may have had some adversity along the way, and I think we all have in some capacity, right? That doesn't stop you from being able to shine in purpose. It doesn't stop the assignment that God has attached to your life. It doesn't stop all that you can become. However, it does require some work, and I had to do a lot of work to heal through that, right? And here's the thing, and this ties in, I want to share this based on what Dr. Lynn just said a little while ago. When God is taking you to a new level of your purpose, the enemy is not going to just stand back and cheer you on, right? And so even with Dr. Lynn, it may not be that there's a wound there. It might just be that you stepping on stages again is going to unlock the next level to where God wants to take you. And so the enemy is trying to stir up these lies to make you believe, whatever reason, that, hey, there's fear there or there's doubt. You are absolutely more than capable, right, of speaking on stages. And so I think sometimes it's we've done the work, but now the fear starts to come up again to prevent us from going to the next level. And so the second half of my book, I talk about how do you stay in that space of being healed, and how do you start shining? Because one thing I've learned along the way, and this was a really ouch moment for me, is that two things. Number one, delayed obedience or partial disobedience is still disobedience, right? Partial obedience and delayed obedience is still disobedience, right? And we cannot assume that we have tomorrow to fulfill the call in our life. We just can't make that assumption. They say procrastination is the arrogant assumption that you have more time than you do. And so I think for all of us, the fire that should be ignited within us is that all of us, we're called to shine. We all have a light. And when those lies come up within us, we have to make sure that we do everything to counteract those lies, reminding ourselves who we are, whose we are, who our real identity is. And then if there's work that we need to do to heal and overcome that fear, then that's what we do, that hard work, so that we can go exactly where God wants us to go without apology.
Yeah, because Dr. Lynn is dope. I mean, all of us on this screen, and those of you watching, we're all dope, right? Like God has really put something on the inside of us and has given us the opportunity to be able to share it with others. And Dr. Lynn, you are so articulate, and you are, when you speak, like people want to listen to you. I would say the same thing that Lena said to me, that my voice carries influence. So does yours. and you teach, you facilitate, you have your own show, working it out across generations, and all of that. While you're doing that, you're talking. I didn't know if you realized that part. You're talking, right? You're
I
speaking.
realized that part. That's why it just, I'm so glad it came up, because when it did, I'm like, this is ridiculous. What is it that you are imagining? It's not even like it would be the first time that you've been on stage as a speaker. Like, you've done it so many times. Like, what is this? But I received that, Lena. I so received that. There is, thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. I mean, I received that because it has to be that, because it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Right.
This is something that I should never feel intimidated by. I have done work with this. I mean, I studied with Les Brown, like, how to speak. What is this fear that I'm saying no, 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 I'm not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to wrap this up. Before I do that, I'm going to give you, Dr. Lynn, the same opportunity that I gave Lena and Cheryl to. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to talk about who you are, what you do, and where people can find you. And then when we come back, what I'd like to do is for each one of you to speak into. And so I'm telling you now so that you can think about it. Speak into a woman or a man that's watching, and from your heart and from maybe even what you've experienced this weekend, to share with them why shine, why they should show up and shine, but why they should also join us when we do Shine Academy. All right, so Dr. Lynn, you go ahead and
All right. Hey, I am Dr. Lynn Maureen Hurdle, known as Dr. Lynn, but also known as the conflict closer. And that's because what I do is I help people to engage in conflict, to actually like run towards it so that they can communicate productively and skillfully, which always is going to end up being profitable for folks. I love to bring people closer to conflict in order to look at the wounds that are there for you around conflict that prevent you from really engaging in it well. And I also want you to get the skills to help you close out. So you can reach me at lynnmaureenhurdle.com, or you can check out the television show I co-host with my son Justin, Working It Out Across Generations. You can find us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Working It Out. Or you can also see the show live Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com. We're also on YouTube. I'm on Instagram at Conflict Closer, and Facebook, the Lynn Maureen Hurdle. I think that's all. That's where you can find me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Lynn. And the show is really good. I love the show. Absolutely love the show. And I love the dynamics between you and your son. So, Lena, I'm going to start with you. Why should somebody finally come out of the shadows, come out of hiding? Why should someone show up and shine? And why should they do it with Shine Academy based on what you experienced this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's the perfect forum to really help you get out of your own way, right? Just putting it simply, just get out of your own way. But what I will say is that you have a light that needs to shine. We all have a light, and you are no different. It doesn't matter what your past looks like. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter where you're sitting in this moment. You have a light, and you need to allow yourself and give yourself permission to shine that light. You also have a story, and your story matters. Your story matters. And I love the phrase that says, your story is someone else's survival guide. And so when you don't tell your story, you don't open the doors to breakthrough for someone else. And so your story matters, and it's important for you to share the story. And then I think the last thing as a reminder is that you also have purpose, and you have a destiny. And God has called you to fulfill that purpose and to fulfill that assignment. And even with the self-doubt, even with the fear, I want to encourage you to rise above that, move past that, and know that you are here for a reason. God wants to use you, and there's an amazing assignment on your life. And don't allow the untruths that constantly circulate in your mind. Don't allow that to dictate where you go. Allow the Word of God, your identity and your purpose, to be kind of the final say in which you follow. Allow that to be your guide, not the lies that you continue to believe.
That was so powerful, Lena. Thank you. What was that you said? When you don't share your story, you... I'm putting you on the spot because I know I'd be like, I don't know, but you better watch the replay.
Yeah, I don't remember. When you don't share your story, you don't allow... Yeah, I just said your story is someone else's survival guide. I can't remember. Okay,
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. I'll be watching the replay. Trust me. But yeah, I'm in the same boat. So Cheryl, you're up next.
So one of the things that I walked away with from the Show and Shine experience is that this idea of showing up and shining, it's more than a brand. It's more than an event. It's more than an idea. It's a mandate. It's a mandate. And it's a mandate because you have tremendous purpose and you've been called to so much just by being who you are. Your story is unique. Your journey is unique. While someone may have gone through the same thing, they didn't go through it the same way. So the way you show up, the way you share your story, the way you do what you've been called to do, nobody else can do it that way. The anointing is not duplicatable. You can't duplicate the anointing. And the anointing that's on your life, no one else has it because the oil is different. The oil is different. The cost is different. Every aspect of your experiences in life are different. Lena shared her experience about being adopted at 2, and that's one of our connecting points. I was adopted at 2, but her journey and her way that she went about her life was different from mine, even though we have a very similar starting place. So the anointing, it can't be duplicated. No one has your oil. You are iconic, a design. And I'm not talking about being famous, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you being who you were created to be. There is none like you. The only DNA that exists that's yours is yours. That's what makes you iconic. And showing up and shining is the mandate on all of us to show up and do what we've been called to do.
Wow.
So if you want to know why you should join Shine Academy, those are all the reasons why.
Ooh. Wow. I want to go to Shine Academy. You're up next, Dr. Lynn.
Thank you. Well, first of all, it's so interesting. Okay, so I didn't know about Cheryl being adopted. We didn't talk. Both of my sons are adopted. So here we go, right? The connection. I shared that with Lena on Saturday. But I just want to know why you're here, because I don't think you understand that this is not an accident that you're here. Whether you found Andrea by scrolling, whether you knew her for a while, or whether you tuned in and stayed in and you just got fed, that none of that's accident. So if it's by design, then you need to follow the next step, right? Things that are designed don't just get designed in one day overnight. A lot of times it can take years for it to be done. So the next step would be, well, what's next? Shine Academy. Because if you are not here by accident, which you are not, then you have something to do. And if you're unsure, you don't know what it is, well, how are you going to find out? How long you been showing up? How long you been being fed? All right, did you find out yet? If you didn't find out, then you got to take the next step. And if you have found out, you are obligated to take the next step, because somebody is waiting for your message. You have to know what is it that God turned your mess into a message. You have to know that. And if you don't, I just said it, but I did not make that up, right? It's been said before and it's been proven as well. So the question to me is, why not? Why wouldn't you join Shine Academy? Why wouldn't you take that next step? Why wouldn't you be obedient to God who's brought you here so that you can do what it is that you need to do, that you can put your imprint on it, that you can put your face, right? Your stamp, whatever it is. And would you do it if all you could do is speak into the life of one person? Would it be worth it to you to speak into the life of one person? You know it would. So if you want to do that, do that. If you know that you are destined to speak into the lives of so many more, then that's the next step for you too. But whatever it is, it's not to stay here. It's to move on, take that next step and be who you are supposed to be. Because again, this was not by accident, not at all.
Wow. Wow. Cheryl and Lena, did either one of you like envision Dr. Lynn standing on the stage saying that? Like I just handed the mic over to her. She just like,
Yes.
I envisioned it, like I saw it.
Yep.
We did.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Walking too.
Mhm. Mhm. Wait. And right before I give her the mic, I freaking know it's beautiful locks. You know, Cheryl, I meant to text you this morning, and I was scrolling on Instagram, and I actually did send you an Instagram message. I forwarded it to you. But I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw that Chanel made Kendrick Lamar their brand ambassador. And I've realized that I didn't want to read their caption. I wanted immediately, I want to know, what does Cheryl think about this? That was my honest, true, in the moment reaction when I saw the post. I did not read the caption, so I don't know what it says. All I know is that on the screen, it said Chanel made Kendrick Lamar their brand ambassador. And I immediately just sent it straight to you. And I am waiting for you to show up and talk about it. You are the news jacking queen when it comes to matters of the heart in the branding, in the fashion style, entertainment industry. When it comes to all of those things that are happening, and talking about it from the personal branding perspective, like I don't know any other voice. I don't want to know any other voice. And so Saturday, you left it all behind, and I'm just excited for what's to come. Excited. and you got to do something today because I need to know what's going on with this Kendrick Lamar and Chanel.
I gotta look at it because I didn't know, but I will take a look and see what's going on.
I know you were busy this morning. You had an appointment, so you didn't have much time to be on social media and check it out. So I'll give you that. But usually, you know about these things way before anybody else does. I feel like Chanel is like, get Cheryl Poland's on the phone. Yeah. So we have to break the news. We just wanted you to know. Yeah, we're waiting to hear what you have to say about it.
Your mouth, God's ears.
Yeah, Cheryl, I knew nothing about branding until I met Cheryl. And just like Andrea, she has this graceful influence about her that she also minimizes. So, I'll say to you, don't minimize, the power of your influence and the power of your words and how transformative they are when they're spoken the first time. When they're spoken the first time. And for you, Dr. Lynn, I keep saying for you, like, you are a trailblazer, like you help people unlock places they think they cannot go. Like there's this special gift on your life about helping people to really unlock places that they say, oh, I'll never be able to do that.
Thank you.
Somehow you make it so easy and you make it look easy.
Thank you so much.
Just with the work that you do, Dr. Lynn, the people that you have in your rooms that you talk to that probably could never see themselves as changing their mindset. And you usher them into that place.
Yeah. Oh, I received that because I'm a straight up, y'all. Why I was not on in the beginning because I was on the phone with the IRS and I need to use my conflict resolution skills to get myself out of this IRS mess that I am in. So I received that. I'm like, Lynn, come on. You can talk them through giving you what you need to do to get through this and get out of this gracefully. Yes. And not publicly.
You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
I know it. I know it. Can I just say, just being touched by both of you, Lena and Cheryl, this weekend. I don't feel like I have to have a lot to be touched by someone. You have to sit down and, give me a whole counseling session, a coaching. It's not that. It is presence, as I told you, Cheryl, around integrity, that remark you made around integrity, and Lena, how easily you shared things that are wounds for you, really touched me and also cemented for me that, not that I ever doubted that I was supposed to be there and that I'm supposed to be in this Shine crew, but it just cemented for me. These are the kind of women that I want to be around and be a part of, sharing whatever I can give, but also just learning from them and being in community with you. So I'm really thankful to both of you for showing up and shining on Saturday.
It's an honor to meet you and be connected to you.
Same.
Oh my gosh, this was amazing. Yes. This was amazing. Thank you guys for making the time to come on and show up and shine, because you did that this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being there this weekend. Thank you for loving me and speaking into my life and encouraging me. But thank you so much for you being you and inspiring me to be me, because each one of you have your fingerprint on me. And I'm grateful for that. So, well, first of all, anytime one of these ladies are on the show, you already know, like, it's not going to be an hour. I try to keep it to an hour. But whenever any of these ladies are on, we always go over, but it's a good going over. And so I'm going to close this out now. Thank you again for being here. Thank you to each and every one of you that watch, those of you who watch loyally, and for those of you who always share the show and let people know that this is a place where they can come and learn how to show up and shine and be all that God has created you to be. Please make sure that you follow each one of these ladies, because what they have on the inside of them, you need it. You need it. Let's support each other. Let's love on each other. And I want you to today, after everything that you've heard, let today be the last day that you hide. No more hiding. No more hiding. And make sure that you stay in touch. You stay in touch with us. And if you want to know what's going on, if you want to know when the Shine Academy, is starting up, you want all the information. You want to know when is the next Show Up and Shine experience. When are we going to Jerk Hut next just to eat some Jamaican food? Make sure that you go ahead and get shined up at shinewithandrea.com/shine up. Go ahead, do it now. Go to shinewithandrea.com and get shined up. shinewithandrea.com/shine up. And I have a special gift there for you that'll get you started on showing up. All right. And so let's go ahead and I have been asked to show a picture of the book. And I think this is the wrong one because it doesn't have that the forward was done by Marshawn Evans Daniels, but that's okay. Y'all, let's just smile with me. Just smile with me. Let me see. No, we don't want that. Oh, I lost my ladies. Where y'all at? Okay. We'll just do it that way. All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you, everybody. When's the next one? Jan says, when's the next one? Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Miracles and blessings. Miracles and blessings. Miracles and blessings.